Simple things seem to work pretty well on the guitar. I mean, we have so many different expressive elements that can be added to a melody or a chord progression that even the most simple musical idea can sound beautiful. The chord progression that I played at the beginning of the video is very simple. I played a C major, an A minor, an F major, and a G major chord. I was able to make it sound more interesting than that by adding more musical elements. In this lesson, I'm going to walk you through the 5 steps that I followed to transform this chord progression from 4 simple chords to something a little bit more musical and fun to play. Step number 1 is very simple. Play the chords with the fingerstyle technique. With the fingerstyle technique, we can really add a lot of color to the chord progression, and we can also simplify the chords quite a lot. Now we're going to play the chords like this. The first chord is the C major. We're going to play it like this. The root note is on the A string fret 3 and then the B string fret number 1. We're not going to pick the D string fret number 2, so we're not going to use the middle finger. We're going to play the bass note with the thumb, the G string with the index, the B string with the middle, back to the G string, and the top E string with the ring finger. And we're going to let it ring out. So 3 and 4. You see, with the fingerstyle technique, we already added a lot of rhythm to this simple chord. You also want to add a little bit of vibrato, so shake your guitar a little bit. The second chord is the A minor. We can go from this chord to this chord. Again, we are not picking the D string, so we don't have to fret this note. Just play the G string fret number 2 and the B string fret number 1 and the top E string open. The bass note is the A string. The same finger picking pattern. The third chord is very simple. We go from a massive F major chord played with the bar chord technique to an F major 7 chord, which is played with the root note on the D string fret number 3, then 2, then 1, and the E string open. The finger picking pattern is the same. This time the thumb is going to pluck the D string. And a little bit of vibrato. And then the last chord is the G major chord. It sounds like this. So we have one additional note. Now this chord is super simple to play. It's a little bit stretchy on the left hand fingers. So we have the bass note on the low E string fret number 3, the G and the B string open, and the top E string fret number 3. You can decide to play this chord like this, or you could play it like this, or like this with the pinky. I'm gonna be using the 3rd finger and the 4th finger. The fingerstyle pattern is the same. We're going to start with the thumb on the low E string. And then we're going to play the G string open. So when I put the whole thing together. Now step number 2. Add a simple melody. Now, adding a melody doesn't really mean that you have to play single notes all the time. In fact, the melody that I'm about to show you only has 5 notes. Now, for the C major chord, we're going to play the melody like this. So you want to play the chord just like we learned it, and then play the last note with the ring finger. Then you want to let the chord ring out and then play the melody with the G string open, the B string fret number 1, fret number 3, the E string open, and the B string fret number 1. I'm plucking the strings with index and middle finger. Also, you want to make sure that you hold the bass note down as you play the melody. Now the second chord is the A minor chord, so we're going to put down the position, arpeggiate the chord, and then we're going to play the melody, which is going to start on the G string fret number 2, which is already there, the B string fret number 1, the B string fret number 3, E string open, and the B string fret number 1. So for the A minor, most of the notes of the melody are actually within the chord. The next chord is the F major 7 chord, which sounds like this. So we arpeggiate the chord, and then we play the G string fret number 2, the B string fret number 1, 3, E string open, and the B string fret number 3. And then we play the last chord. Now you want to hold down the note D here, and then we're going to play the low E string fret number 3 and the G string open. So we are basically playing the G major chord. So and then the melody. So I have the G string open, fret number 2, B string open, fret number 1, 3, E string open, and the fret number 1. Now the step number 3 is going to be quite interesting. We're going to combine extended chords with the strumming. So we're going to put together the finger picking technique and the strumming. It's pretty interesting. So we're going to play the chords like this. We're going to have the C add 9 chord, A minor 7, F sus2, and G sus4, and G major. Now let's take it step by step. The first chord is the C add 9. It's a beautiful chord, you probably already know this chord. 3, 2, open, 3 and 3. Now we're going to start with the fingerstyle technique, and I'm picking 2 strings. The A string and the E string together with thumb and ring, and then the B string. And then I'm going to strum with the downstroke. I strum with the finger 1 time. Then I'm going to have the thumb strumming down just the bass note. And then up, up, up. I'm going to strum the strings lightly. So for the A minor 7 chord, we're going to play this lovely chord, open 2, open 1 and 3. The finger picking pattern is the same. Down, down, up, up, up. For the F sus2, we're going to play the chord like this. 3, open, 1 and 3. Same finger picking pattern. Down, down, up, up, up. And for the last chord, we're going to play the G sus4 and the G major. So we're going to start with the G sus4, just low E string fret 3, the D and the G string open, the B string fret number 1 and the top E string fret number 3. We're going to strum, we're going to pick actually the low E string and the top E string, the B string, and then we're going to change chord and play the G major like this. And we're going to strum down and then down, up, up, up. Step number 4, strum and embellish the chords. Now with step number 4, we're going to use extended chords, the ones that we already learned, and we're going to embellish these chords with a grace note, which is going to be played with a hammer on. It sounds like this. The A minor 7, F add 9, G sus4. Now for the C add 9, the grace note is played like this. You want to put down the chord, then you want to get rid of the index finger, you want to strum the D string open, and then you quickly hammer the fret number 2. So the strumming pattern is this one. Down, up, bass, grace, up, bass, grace, down, up. Now when I say bass, I mean that I literally just strum with the downstroke the bass note of the chord. So down, up, bass, grace, up, bass, grace, down, up. The second chord is the A minor 7. The grace note is on the D string open. So we're gonna strum the chord without the middle finger, and then we're gonna add the fret number 2. So down, up. It's the same strumming pattern. Down, up, bass, grace, up, bass, grace, down, up. The third chord is the F add 9. We're gonna play like this: 3, 2, 1, and the fret number 3. Same strumming pattern. The grace note is on the G string fret number 2. So we're basically going to play the chord without the middle finger, and then we're gonna hammer the fret number 2. So down, up, bass, grace, up, bass, grace, down, up. And then the last chord is slightly different. We have the G sus4, the downstroke, and the upstroke. Then we have the G major chord. We're only gonna play the bass, down, up, bass, down, down, up. It sounds like this. Step number 5, change the order. This is kind of easy and straightforward. We can just play the same chord progression in a different order. For example, I could play it like this. So that's it, guys. This is how we can start with this simple chord progression and then add a lot of different musical elements to these simple chords to make it sound more musical and fun to play. Start with the first step and then move up the ladder as you become better. Take it step by step, guys. Not all of these chords are easy to play. I'm gonna leave you to practice this. Have a lovely weekend and talk soon.